Assalamu alaikum. Recently, I had posted a reel जिसमें I talked about my experience with Jaza's reflux, and I thought कि I would want to share more about it in case किसी को भी इससे help हो सके, so it would be all worth it, I guess. So basically, for the first 4 months of Jaza's life, वो बहुत ज़्यादा struggle करती थी reflux से. एंड हमें यही बताया जाता था कि ऑल बेबीज़ गो थ्रू इट, इट्स नॉर्मल. कोई कहता था कॉलिक है, कोई कहता था अनएक्सप्लेन्ड क्राइंग इन चिल्ड्रन इज़ समथिंग दैट जस्ट हैपन्स एंड दे ग्रो आउट ऑफ इट, सो जस्ट डील विद इट. एंड हमने भी इसको इसी तरह लिया. जज़ा की सिचुएशन में जज़ा वॉज द काइंड ऑफ बेबी जिसको आप नीचे रख नहीं सकते थे. लाइक इधर शी हैड टू बी रॉक्ड इन अ रॉकर और इन योर आर्म्स, लेकिन बेड पे फ्लैट वो बिल्कुल भी नहीं लेट पाती थी, लाइक नॉट इवन फॉर अ फ्यू मिनट्स इन अ डे. एंड मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा कहा जाता था कि आपने इसकी आदत ख़राब कर दी है, आपने बहुत चिपकाया हुआ है, गोद में रखा हुआ है, गोद की आदत डाल दी है, दैट इज़ वाई शी इज़ द वे शी इज़. साथ साथ ये था कि जज़ा नेवर टुक अ बॉटल, शी डिड नॉट टेक अ pacifier, and I had to be with her pretty much all the time, because कभी भी unpredictably उन्हें भूख लग जाती थी, so I just could not go out, leave her with my mom or anyone, जैसे बाकी लोग आसपास मेरे कर रहे थे. एंड मुझे उस पर भी डांट पड़ती थी कि ये तुमने इसको ना अपने साथ साथ लगाया हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से शी डजंट स्टे विद एनीवन, और तुमने बॉटल नहीं इंट्रोड्यूस कराई टाइम में, इस वजह से शी इज़ नॉट, मतलब अगर इवन इफ़ आई वाज पंपिंग आई कुड नॉट गिव हर दैट बॉटल बिकॉज वो सक ही नहीं करती थी प्रॉपरली. तो वो कहते थे बिकॉज यू आर सो एडमेंट ऑन एक्सक्लूसिवली ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग हर, इस वजह से it's your loss that you don't have a social life anymore, or you can't just go to the bathroom and also be worry free in there, because मुझे बीच में नहाने जाओ या कहीं पे भी मुझे टेंशन होती थी कि अभी उसे भूख लगेगी and I'd have to come out. So this is how we spent our first few months of Jaza's life, around 4 to 5 months. एंड उसमें साथ साथ ये भी था कि टूवर्ड्स हर थर्ड और फोर्थ मंथ उसकी क्राइंग इतनी ज़्यादा बुरी हो चुकी थी एट दैट टाइम दैट बिफोर एवरी सिंगल नैप ड्यूरिंग द डे शी वुड क्राई अनकंट्रोलेबली फॉर अराउंड 40 to 50 मिनट्स. तो आप सोच सकते हैं कि बच्चे कितनी ज़्यादा नैप्स लेते हैं इन द अर्लियर मंथ्स. एंड हर नैप के साथ अगर बच्चा 40 to 60 मिनट्स के लिए रो रहा है तो ऑलमोस्ट फॉर अ गुड 5 to 6 आवर्स अ डे आपका बच्चा सिर्फ रो रहा है. एंड मैं डॉक्टर से भी पूछती थी, मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा फोरम्स पे जाके लिखा कि यार प्लीज़ कोई मुझे बता दे कि मेरे बच्चे के साथ क्या मसला है, व्हाई इज शी क्राइंग सो मच. एंड people would just say कि this is how babies are, you have to rock them to sleep and कुछ नहीं होता, this is what it is. So रो धोकर हमारा वो टाइम गुजर गया. I was almost like a zombie. I was also working simultaneously, थोड़ा बहुत जिस तरह मैं कर पा रही थी. I was exclusively breastfeeding her and I was just dealing with so much crying. And जब थोड़ी ज़्यादा बड़ी हो गई, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह स्टेबल हो गई, सो आई थॉट ठीक है ख़त्म हो गया, टाइम गुजर गया. बट इवेंचुअली शी ऑल्सो बिकेम लाइक अ वेरी एक्सट्रीमली पिकी ईटर, जो होते हैं ना, जो कि बिल्कुल 4 खाने खाते हैं और इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं, ट्राई नहीं करना चाहते हैं, मेजर सेंसरी इशू विद फूड, उस तरह की हमें डिफ़िकल्टीज आई. बट आई वॉज टोल्ड कि मैं भी ऐसी थी, तो मैंने कहा शायद लाइक सिंस आई वॉज लाइक दैट माई चाइल्ड इज़ ऑल्सो लाइक दैट एंड आई एम फाइन एंड माई चाइल्ड विल बी फाइन टू. सो we didn't give it much of I mean, like, we did give it a lot of thought, but we couldn't do much about it, so we just started living with it. Then with Jana, when I had my second one, I had some plans, okay, is dafa I'm trying to get it, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to make sure कि मैं वो चीज़ें रिपीट ना करूँ जिनकी वजह से शायद मैंने जज़ा को भी थोड़ी तकलीफ दी, खुद को भी दी. बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली इफ अ चाइल्ड इज़ एक्सक्लूसिवली ब्रेस्ट फेड, आप खुद कहीं जा भी नहीं सकते हैं, आपका बच्चा हैज़ टू बी विद यू एट ऑल टाइम्स. बट देयर आर टाइम्स व्हेन यू हैव टू स्टेप आउट. लाइक आई गॉट हॉस्पिटलाइज इन बिटवीन. वो बेचारी ने बहुत स्ट्रगल की थी उस टाइम पे. या इफ़ आई हैड टू गो टू अ फ्यूनरल, मुझे साथ लेके जाना पड़ता था बिकॉज देयर वाजंट एनी ऑप्शन. सो उसने भी स्ट्रगल की, मैंने भी की. तो इस दफ़ा आई वांटेड टू मेक श्योर कि आई डू एवरीथिंग राइट. So I had plans कि I would nurse Jana, but I will also introduce a pacifier. I will introduce at least one formula bottle if possible, so that I'm able to leave her with someone, और इस तरह की emergencies के लिए. एंड आई हैड प्लान्स कि आई विल ऑलवेज मेक श्योर कि जब भी वो सोएं तो वो बेड पे सोएं. व्हेन शी इज़ ड्राउजी आई एम गोइंग टू पुट हर टू बेड एंड आई एम गोइंग टू पैट हर टू स्लीप. सो इस तरह के मेरे प्लान्स थे ताकि कोई भी अनहेल्दी हैबिट डेवलप ना हो. And when she was born, right from the first day, I'm not even, exaggerating it, she was there in the hospital cot and she would not lie in it. you know वो उसके अंदर लेट कर आई कुड सी इट ऑल ओवर अगेन. वही उस तरह जैसे जजा वो जजा का तो एटलीस्ट 2.5 months के बाद इट गॉट लाइक, मतलब था उनका बिल्कुल बचपन से ही आई कुड सेंस के रिफ्लक्स है, लेकिन इट गॉट रियली बैड अराउंड 2nd month मार्क. लेकिन जना का तो डे 1 से आई कुड सी कि वो लेट ही नहीं पा रही. जैसे ही वो नर्स कहती एवरीथिंग यूज्ड टू स्टार्ट कमिंग बैक एंड उनकी आंखों में पानी आ रहा है एंड शी वांटेड टू बी हेल्ड. So second day onward, I had a C-section, but my baby was next to me in my arms, and she was only sleeping on me. And तब से लेके अब तक I'm at my 50th day now. There hasn't been a single night जिस पे Jana has been able to sleep on the bed. And I know about SIDS and I know about safe sleeping and I have read all online recommendations जिसमें है co-sleeping नहीं होनी चाहिए, reflux है बच्चे को वेज वाले पिलो पे लिटा दें maximum, but try to make sure they're on their back and everything. I am aware of all of these things, but I'm not able to practice any of it. My child just cannot lie on the bed at all. And just yesterday as well, except for like 2 hours, जिसमें मैंने किसी और को वो दिया उन्हें और मैं सोई हूँ, for the entire day she was in my arms. So I just thought that this is really really difficult, and ये इस तरह कब तक चलेगा. But I wasn't honestly seeking solutions because I thought this is how it has to be. So I posted one of my, like, a very random picture of me. I was wearing a wrap and उसमें वो जना थी and I had said कि if you have a reflux baby this is very useful. वहाँ से वो एक cycle start हुआ जहाँ पे मुझे किसी ने कहा, oh, if you have a reflux baby then your child might have a tongue tie. And I said, no, it's not possible. मेरी बच्ची का तो tongue tie नहीं है. She's sticking out her tongue. So I just, didn't think about it too much. Then I had posted another picture which was again very unrelated, but उसमें Jana was on the bed with her, she was like her tummy was on the bed. She was उल्टा जैसे लिटाते हैं. मैंने थोड़ी देर के लिए वहाँ पे उन्हें लिटाया हुआ था. So someone said, how come your baby is sleeping on their tummy and is that even okay and all. वहाँ पे दोबारा एक कन्वर्सेशन हुई कि my child can't lie on their back, so if ever they are put down for a bit, it is on a side or on the tummy. तो उन्होंने फिर मुझे कहा कि oh, it seems like your daughter might have a tongue tie, or why don't you check out this person, the baby reflux lady. And the first person who had reached out to me and told me about reflux, उन्होंने भी यही कहा था कि why don't you look up the baby reflux lady. And I got very curious, so I said okay, I'm going to look it up. And जब मैंने जाके कोर्स देखा तो I was like okay, wow, and वहाँ पे इस तरह के claims थे कि your child is going to cry less in less than 10 days and you'll have an answer to your reflux and all of those things. So I said okay, that's interesting. I looked at the price, it was pretty steep. So I thought कि ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा अभी, but I was desperate as well. So I wrote to that person and I said, can you please give me access to your course, and in return, if this works out for me, I'm going to spread the word for your course. Alhamdulillah, it was a miracle. I was begging for this miracle. It worked out and she said, okay, let's do this. You go ahead, take my course, and if it works out, just tell more people about it. And I started taking the course. It was a 17-hour long course, I think, on average. उसके content 17 hours का है. I think मैंने उसमें से 10 ही देखा होगा. But then things started, everything started falling into place for me. And so मैंने 2-3 दिन constantly, I was hooked onto the video. I was reading the material that she had given. I was looking at all the symptoms and all. And I started understanding what's wrong with my child. Long story short, my child had a tongue tie that I did not know about because it was a posterior tongue tie. And I realized Chaza had one too. And वो इसी में बड़ी हो गई and became a picky eater because of that. And not only that, it turned out that I had a tongue tie and my husband had a tongue tie. All of my siblings have one. So it's something that was kind of running in the family. But just lived on with it, you know. And अभी जाके, you know, there are certain things जहाँ पे किसी ना किसी को अभी भी वो impact कर रहा है. Like two of my siblings, they do not have their tongue, their tongue's resting position is not at the top of their mouth, which is something very important if you want to achieve a deeper sleep. My husband is a mouth breather while sleeping, again because of his tongue tie. So that again impacts your sleep. It impacts the way your jaw is formed. It impacts your speech. छोटे बच्चों में खास तौर पे. One of my nephews, he started talking late because of his tongue tie. So I realized that, oh wow, this is in our family, and this also impacted my first one. Not exactly in her speech development, but yes, there are certain words जो अभी भी वो सही तरह नहीं बोलती हैं, but more so in other habits that she picked up. So now we're at that point जहाँ पे we kind of understand what is happening with Jana, and although it has not yet been resolved, and I'm now I would be going for an evaluation, a formal evaluation, and then we'll figure out whether to get it cut or not, released or not. But I feel really, really, really empowered because I understand what's causing the reflux. I understand how the body actually responds to certain conditions जिसकी वजह से reflux होता है. So I'm not that, you know, jittery mom anymore who's just roaming. होता है ना कि आप कमरे में पूरे कमरे में लेके अपना बच्चा फिर रहे हैं and you're handing your child to someone कि please तुम चुप करा दो, मैं चुप कराती हूँ. You know, you're not doing that anymore because now you understand the process a lot better. And उस कोर्स के अंदर comprehensively ये लिखा हुआ है कि क्या क्या reasons होते हैं reflux के, how can it be addressed, what are the coping strategies, जब तक वो address नहीं होता आप किस तरह बेहतर cope कर सकते हैं, what kind of things can be given to the children during this time जब तक उनका core issue जो है वो address नहीं हो रहा है. And there are quite a few different issues that have been highlighted in the course which can be the reason for reflux. They keep on repeating that reflux is not a disease, it's a symptom of something else. So with उन्होंने, you know, it's like a ladder that they follow कि अच्छा if there is a tongue tie, first get the tongue tie addressed and see if there is a problem over there. If not that, is it a food allergy? Is it something to do with their anatomy, you know? So all of these things follow उसके बाद. But I think बहुत छोटी duration के अंदर आपको सब कुछ बता देते हैं of why your child is crying and how can you support them. And I am not even lying. Within 2 days, हमारी 5 घंटे का रोना came down to like maybe a few minutes before every nap. And it was insane. Like I was like, wow, you know, so many people just keep on shaking and rocking their children and keep on getting so upset but are not able to really help their children because they do not have the right information. So I would highly recommend कि आप ये course लें if you are able to do so, if you are able to afford it. ये महंगा कोर्स है, आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट. मुझे इसका एक्सेस मुझे पे नहीं करना पड़ा, मुझे एक्सेस इसी तरह से मिला है. बट लुकिंग बैक, वुड आई हैव पेड फॉर समथिंग आफ्टर लुकिंग एट द वैल्यू दैट द कोर्स गेव मी? माई आंसर इज़ एब्सोल्युटली येस. अगर कोई मेरे बच्चे को जो कि 4 महीने तक रोती रही है, अगर मुझे कोई कहे कि यू नो योर चाइल्ड वुड नॉट बी क्राइंग फॉर as long as they have been crying for, would you pay the price? I would say absolutely yes, I would if I'm able to afford to do so. So it is something that's definitely value for money. मेरे हिसाब से तो मतलब it is. हम अपने बच्चों को otherwise, you know, if our child has like an injury, अगर कोई खुदा न खासा कोई fracture हो जाता है या कोई disease होती है, तो we would go out of the way and we would try to get it addressed, चाहे जितने भी पैसे लग जाए, हॉस्पिटल एडमिशन आ जाए, कुछ भी हम करते ही हैं ना अपने बच्चों के लिए. So take it like one of those things that you need this information to support your child better, and in that sense it is definitely worth the price. But if you're not able to afford it, then at least try to look up reflux on your own. I have met along the way, along this journey, I met some other mothers on Instagram here who told me about their experience, and they did a lot of their research on their own, and they had kind of reached similar conclusions. But as parents, it is our responsibility to conduct this research if you're not able to afford a course like this. This course is like a shortcut, you know, आपको 2 दिनों में सब कुछ समझ आ जाता है. बट अगर आप ये कोर्स नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं तो आप एटलीस्ट खुद की रिसर्च करें टू अंडरस्टैंड कि रिफ्लक्स होता क्या है, उसके क्या रीजंस हैं, टंग टाइज क्या है, ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स, यू नो, व्हाट्स द मैकेनिज्म दैट इज, यू नो, गेटिंग इन द वे इन कॉजिंग reflux, body किस तरह behave कर रही है, and all of these things. So do educate yourself, because once you educate yourself, you are able to support your children in the most intelligent ways, I would say. Then you're not frantic, you're not all over the place, you're composed yourself, and your child picks up on that vibe too, and बहुत बेहतर तरीके से अपने बच्चों को सेटल कर पाते हैं. So I will post more about our journey with this reflux, and whether we are going to go ahead with a tongue tie release or not. For now, we're doing almost like a physiotherapy for her tongue, which has improved things a lot. But I'm going to evaluate whether she, or rather I would ask the expert to evaluate कि हमें tongue tie को release करना है या नहीं करना, and so on and so forth. One last thing that was mentioned in the course, which I think is very valuable for all new mothers to know, is that they said कि आपका जो बच्चा है ना, especially if you have a reflux baby, your baby is going to get a lot of comfort by being close to you. So a lot of people, when they get their maternity leave, they plan a lot. You know, they're like, oh, we're getting 3-4 months off work, so let's plan a vacation, let's plan a lot of like social things, let's learn something new, let's join some classes because we're getting all this time off. That time off is not for your social life. That time off is not to, you know, chill and relax. That time off is there because raising a newborn is hard. So that time is for you to be there for your baby. And that makes so much of a difference. कि अगर आप एक बड़े इवेंट पे नहीं जाएंगे जिसके लिए आपने प्लानिंग की हुई है और अपने कपड़े भी बनाए हुए हैं और आपने बहुत सारे लोगों से वहाँ मिलना है, तो कुछ नहीं होगा. बिकॉज ऑनेस्टली अगर आप उस इवेंट पे जाएंगे एंड यू हैव अ रिफ्लक्स बेबी हु नीड्स लाइक हु रियली नीड्स टू बी अट्यून्ड and in sync with you, you're going to neglect your child during that time. आप किसी से बात कर रहे होंगे, आपके बच्चे को बर्प कराने की ज़रूरत है या उसको भूख लग रही है, you're not going to perhaps give your child the attention that they need at that time, and that's just going to make them cry more. And as they cry more, they're just going to get into a very vicious cycle of crying more and more gas. You know, they're going to take in a lot of air, and that is going to turn into gas, and they would have to be burped, but वो नहीं हो रहा होगा, it would just become really crazy for them in the end, and you'd come back with an over tired baby. You're going to come back overtired yourself, and it's just not going to serve anyone. So मेरी भी advice यही होगी कि if your child, if you have a reflux baby, it's okay, you know, to give up on your social life and other commitments for 3 to 4 months. बहुत छोटा सा time है, but if you can be there mentally, physically for your child during this time as much as possible, और आप जिस हद तक उनकी crying को curb कर सकते हैं, even if like वो बहुत important event आपकी ज़िंदगी का miss हो रहा है या किसी की birthday miss हो रही है या आपका eating out miss हो रहा है, it's okay, you know, just let those things be. Right now your child needs you the most. Remain in sync with your child, be attentive towards their needs, be responsive, and in the end, you are going to find that you are a lot more relaxed and your child is a lot more relaxed because of you guys being in sync with each other. So that was the last advice that they gave as well, and I think that really made a lot of sense. And I had made a lot of plans this time because I was like, oh, I'm going to be that cool mom who doesn't mind, you know, taking the newborn along and has her own social life going on alongside as well. And I thought that was self-care for me. But no, it wasn't a good idea. And it would not be a good idea for any one of you as well. But inshallah, once they're a little older and they're a bit more stable, you can have all the fun that you want with them, without them, as you like it. So do check out this course by the Baby Reflux Lady. And if you're not able to afford the course, do look up reflux on its own and try to understand what's going on with your child, because babies do not cry without a reason. They're human beings, and human beings don't cry without a reason. So it all starts with respect for your child. Respectful parenting starts here, where you acknowledge that your child is not crying just to get your attention or just to give you a tough time. They are crying because they are in pain and they need to be helped. Thank you.